who's here with me? Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Muscles and Mindset Reset. Today we are talking about comparison, and this is a really popular topic actually. And you guys gave me some really great examples, which I'm also going to address today too. So first I just want to explain that when I say mindset, because this whole week is about mindset, right? Mindset. We're just having conversations about mindset shifts. So when I say mindset, all I mean is your perspective, how you choose to view something. So we can choose to see something as easy or hard, possible or impossible, right? There are a lot of different mindset shifts that we may need to make, that we do need to make, not only to be successful on our fitness and health journeys, but also to keep going. And then if you keep going, you're going to be successful because you're going to learn all of the lessons that you need to learn in order to be successful if you continue. But we do have to begin to think about some things differently, comparison being one of them. So mindset just starts with an awareness, hearing your internal dialogue, which is a new step for a lot of my clients, but that is the first step, right? Many of us have never done this before because most people don't do that. They just react to the world. They see some things as bad, some things as easy, some things as hard, and then they live in reactive mode. I think in order to choose a different perspective or reality for yourself, you have to understand how you're currently operating. So do you find yourself doing any of these 4 things? Okay, and if you're here, let me know in the comments if you find yourself ever doing any of these 4 things. I've done them all. Blaming other people a lot, or even a little bit, complaining a lot, feeling frustrated a lot, and feeling overwhelmed a lot. Those 4 things are totally common, normal emotions. They're also low vibration emotions, and they alert you to the fact that maybe something you're doing isn't currently working. And sometimes we want to look outside of ourselves. Well, if I didn't have to work, if I didn't have to work so much, if I had more time, if it weren't for COVID, if my husband didn't buy chips every week, if my kids slept longer, right? On and on and on and on. There's an infinite number of things that we can blame. We can blame competing priorities, our family and friends, time, everything. But when we do that, we give away our power. So when we talk about shifting our mindset, we are talking about what we do have control over. How can I adjust my expectations or my tasks? How can I do less? How can I get better? How can I seek more support? Because blaming and complaining don't move the needle forward. It may feel good, it may validate us, but it doesn't move the needle forward. So by mindset, all I really mean is perspective, which we get to choose. There's so much wiggle room when it comes to how we see a certain situation. We can choose to see ourselves as not good enough, or we can choose to see ourselves as learning, growing, and we can be grateful for that process. So this week is just about calling out some of the biggest mindset challenges that I see and hear about all the time. And some of these are really common, especially at the beginning of any journey. We're talking specifically about your fitness and health journey, but this could be like, parenting or starting a business or anything else. But these are mindset blocks that keep people from being successful or even from just starting, which is really too bad because there are so many wins to be had if you just have the courage to rip off the Band-Aid and get started. So today we're talking about the comparison trap and antidote, or comparisonitis, as it's often known. So comparisonitis is the feeling that other people are doing it better, there isn't enough space for us, we're thinking we're not good enough, we are constantly using comparison to make ourselves feel bad, essentially. And we mostly compare down, right? We look up and go, wow, that person is doing it so much better than me, and we feel defeated and deflated. And just biologically, we do have negativity bias. That is, to some extent, how we are wired. So yeah, we're going to look for examples that we aren't good enough and then focus on them. But imagine if we honed in on the examples of us doing a great job. So yesterday, I mentioned scarcity, and that comes into play here too, because sometimes we have the limiting belief that if someone is doing it better, I'm doing it worse. If someone's doing it well, I'm not doing well, as if there's a finite amount of success or results. So I'm thinking about you guys telling me about comparing your appearance or your body to your friends, and as if because you are looking at your friends and thinking they're so beautiful and so wonderful, that there's a misconception that you are not, that means you are less. And it's just not true. Because you have the same access to confidence, fitness, success, wins as they do. It's infinite. So just because someone else is doing well or has achieved something that you want doesn't mean that you can't. In fact, a lot of my clients actually do better when they're inspired by their fellow coaches and see what is possible. And I have noticed that people and my clients are more likely to compare when they're not excited about what they're doing. So if they become disengaged and they're not, taking radical responsibility for what they want, they get a little complacent, right? And then they're a little less excited. Totally normal, and also a normal part of the process. But really, the comparison antidote is love, which sounds so cheesy, but loving the path that you are on so much that anyone else can be doing anything else, and you're like, who cares? I love what I'm doing so much. I don't want anything else. And then when you see others succeeding, when you see them winning alongside you, you're like, I'm so happy for you. That is amazing for you. And maybe I don't want that. Maybe you're doing it differently. Maybe you've already done it. Maybe you have a completely different life from me. And it's just that's great. And that's just maybe not what I'm doing. First of all, as a fitness instructor, and then a personal trainer, and now a coach, I obviously have a lot of fit friends, right? Most of my circle comes from people who work out or teach workouts or something, do all different kinds of sports and workouts. And I am in awe of all of them, right? I have friends who are runners. I have friends who do CrossFit. I have friends who teach bar. I have friends who teach spin. I have friends who teach Zumba. I'm so happy for all of them. And I'm so happy with the way that I work out and the way that I eat, because it's exactly what I want, right? My husband did hardcore keto. Lots of our friends, we have a friend who is on the carnivore diet. I'm so happy for you that is working for you, and it is absolutely not what I want to do. So a big part of this letting go of comparison is getting really clear on what you do want. What you want. So if you don't have a clear vision for your life and for yourself, it's going to be really easy to get pulled off track, which is why I'm very serious about goal setting with my clients, asking them what they want, goal setting, a big picture, small picture weekly, and then checking up on those goals. So if you've never done that, I would take a few seconds after this call just to write down what you want 5 years from now, and then 5 months from now, 5 weeks from now, and then 5 days from now. So what can you do in those 5 days to move the dial forward to whatever you want in 5 years? What do you want to be doing on a day-to-day basis 5 years from now, 5 months from now? What habits, what things do you want to be doing regularly? How do you want to feel? How does your ideal day feel and look? I'm personally very clear on that, and I wasn't always. It's only as a result of me being a participant in coaching that my coaches asked me to get clear on what I wanted my day to look like and feel like, and it really changed my life for the better, honestly. So I'm very clear on that, and I know what I'm doing and not focusing on. So you may have to write down the things that you don't want to do, if you don't want to diet, if you don't want to run, whatever it is, it's fine, but you have to write it down or at least know it in some way, because then if you get clear on the things that you don't want to do, you're more likely to own what you are doing, and that is important to keep you from comparing. When you're confident about what you're doing and you trust the path that you are on, you won't be emotionally triggered, and you won't get those hits of I'm not good, I'm not good enough, they're leaner than me, because you know that you don't want to do what they're doing. Like maybe you don't want to do an ultra marathon to like have those calves or whatever. Maybe you don't want to work out 6 days a week, or you want to eat buns again. You have your own path and your own plan. So go all in on that. If there is something that someone else is doing that you want to create, then okay, make different decisions. Who has achieved what you want? And check the energy behind it too, right? So not like looking at someone you necessarily that everything seems positive, but someone who you know who feels the way that you want to feel, that makes you feel the way that you want to feel. Who has the lifestyle that you want? Can you learn from them? So this is not just about being like, I love Erin Stern's body, I want that. Okay, but do you want Erin Stern's lifestyle? Because it's pretty intense, you know? So who has actually the habits and the lifestyle that you want and lives their, like, does things throughout their day and feels the way that you want to feel? That's kind of like, can you learn from that person? And we touched on overwhelm yesterday. You may not, you may have to not do things to get laser focused on what's most important to you. I was actually talking to my clients about this at the beginning of the week, because certain personality types can get overwhelmed when they try to do everything, particularly at the beginning, right? So I've seen it happen a million times. Key new client is like, give me everything. I want to do everything. I want to do these modules. I want to go to every call. I'm going to do 4 workouts a week. Like, let's do some nutrition coaching. And it doesn't work. And then they get overwhelmed and they're like, oh my God, I'm totally failing. I'm letting myself down because I tried to take on too many things. So you will have to not do everything to get super clear on what's most important to you. If you're only focusing on a few things, specific things, then yes, someone else in the world will be doing literally everything else at some point or another. And if you keep your eyes on everyone else's paper, you're not going to have time to do those very specific things that are going to get you what you want. So know what you want to do, what you need to do to get there, maybe what you don't want, and then focus on that, what you're doing right now, like laser focus until it's totally normal for you. Okay, so the conclusion here is that comparison is not really a thing to me personally now, because I have done the work on this. So I know it feels like at the beginning, comparison is so important because we don't know what we're doing, right? That's where like coaching and help comes in, and having a trainer, like whatever. But there are so many different paths and ways that success can look. So if you, whatever point you're at, if you're feeling like you recognize in yourself that you're constantly comparing or feeling like you're not doing as well as someone or everyone else, I would invite you to go to ask yourself if you know what you're doing. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you want to be doing to get there? Do you know how you're doing it? And then like make it really clear, like 3 specific things. And then don't worry about what other people are doing, because they have chosen different things, and that is okay. Okay? We are taught kind of that our worth is conditional based on, what we do and what we look like and things that are outside of us that we can't control. So, but that's not true. You are worthy regardless. And so keep that in that knowing that you know exactly what you want to do. And now that I've kind of shared what I have to share, I just want to talk about your guys' examples here. So you guys posted some great examples yesterday. So I asked you, I said that today's training was on avoiding the comparison trap, and I wanted to know how you most struggle with comparison. So things that people said are social media, of course, like we could talk a whole other hour about that. The way that other people parent, absolutely. The way that clothes look on my body compared to others in ads on Instagram or live in person. I feel that too, for sure, all the time. How much fun other people seem to have in their day-to-day life, and the cool highlight feel and win stuff on social media. Yeah, I can relate to that too. So remember, that's a highlight reel. And what do you do and want to do to bring joy into your life, and how can you cultivate that? How my body looks compared to my friends, how my body moves compared to other people's, yes. How my body looks compared to other women, yeah. So I hope also that this is showing you guys that you're all thinking the same thing. So you are most likely comparing yourself to someone who has had the same thought about themselves. Yeah, about their body or whatever. And it doesn't make it true. It just means that we all have insecurities, right? And so again, we're always comparing up, like that person is better, looks better, whatever. How I'm doing at my job, comparing to my friends, how others have fashion sense, go on, this is interesting, get to vacation. Yeah. So remembering about like that we have choices, have nice homes, are generally happy, parenting is easy. Social media again, yeah, people only post the good stuff, yep. Energy levels, exhaustion, it feels like everyone else has the energy to burn. Yeah, those are all great examples. And so I never assume, right? Especially, and I bet that most of these examples are based on what you see on social media. So I talk a lot about like limiting screen time, because that's just a form of distraction, right? And then it breeds comparisonitis. So as a last like general tip, I'm gonna say, just to address the whole social media thing, if you follow anyone who makes you feel like any of this, just unfollow that person. Just unfollow them. I did this and I do this all the time, and it makes my social media so joyful, because all that I see is inspiration, realness. Yeah, I still follow like lots of people who look amazing and have things that I want. And I don't feel bad about it, because again, knowing what you want and what you don't want, and knowing that because that person has it doesn't mean that you can't, or that you don't have it available to you. So, when it comes to social media, you are in control, right? You're in control of it. You're in control of your access, your viewing, and then who you're following. So, conclusion, comparison actually doesn't have to be a thing. And when it's coming from social media, unfollow, disengage, come back to what you want. I hope that was helpful. This is a really big topic. So if you guys have any questions about it, I'm totally down to talk about it more. So just put your comments in here.